Hi folks, welcome back to the Carver's Wood Shop. You're probably wondering what the heck this is. This is a baby in a pea pod, okay, and that's what I'm going to call it. There was a theme that a friend of mine whose daughter-in-law was having her first child, and they had a very nice shower coming up. I can tell we're going to have a good time coming Sunday. And I couldn't post this until after the shower because I didn't want her to know what we were doing. But they asked me to carve one of these for the top of the cake. And I thought, well, I never did one of these before, so she sent me an email picture, and this is my design that I came up with. Okay, this is a little pea pod, a baby in a pea pod. Okay. And I put a little hole at the bottom so we can put a toothpick in there and then put it in the cake as the top of the cake. So we're going to make one of these, okay? It's not real difficult, but I will say doing a baby face is a little bit more challenging. Things are not really distinct. It's just a little bit of a cheek. And doing the eyes. The eyes are just little dots. They're not huge by any means. I did it really big and it kind of looked like an old man. So I redid it again. And that's the nice thing about painting. If it doesn't turn out right, you can kind of switch it around. But when you carve it, it's not quite that easy. So let's get started with this. Because I only have this for another day or so before it goes away. So, and I'm sure they would let me borrow it after the fact. But let's see how far we can get tonight on it and see how far. But that's what he looks like, okay? And I just used the flesh color and all that to it. So we actually have something to go by. So the first thing we're going to do is we made a line on both sides, you know, a little bit of a curvature there, okay? And we're going to just go under, I'm going to go underneath that just a tad more, just like so. Alright, and we're just going to trim this portion out. This is basswood, folks, if you're wondering what we're using. It's basswood. I'm just going to chop that out and then chop this out over here. Okay, and we're going to just chop this out a little bit here. You want to be careful that you don't dig the knife too far in. We're not going to go too far in here, but just a little bit on the outskirt. You can see how far we are here. It's not real far. So, and then we're going to do the hat. We're going to go where, and I'll have a pattern available for this, you know, the typical price, which is $1.50. And some of you understood what I meant when I made up the video and on the blog about the copyrights. You know, thank you for understanding that. I really appreciate that. You know, so we're just going to kind of round this up a little bit, take this off. We have it where we're going to have it here, so we just want to kind of keep that line there. And we're just going to chop this up a little bit. We're just establishing where everything goes, okay? And we're just take a little corner off there. And same thing over here. Alright, and we're going to follow that hat. These are stop cuts, folks. Pushing your knife in there to make where the line's going to go. And then just following that out, okay, with the tip of the knife. Okay. Alright. Now you see the neck is underneath a little ways, so we're really going to, and that's a little bit straight across. So we're going to go right across. Like so. Okay. Same thing over here. Where this thing goes, we're just going to curve it just a tad. Not by much, but just a little bit. Okay. See, yeah, that's about right. I'm just looking at it so we know where we're going. So just going to cut some of this off. A little bit over here, just starting to round it off a little bit. Now this was a little thinner, okay? It's not exactly as thick, but I think it will be okay. Alright, I just happen to have this off from one that I had cut before. I think it will be fine. Okay, so it's a matter of just finding where your lines are and just cutting out on both sides and just rounding him up. That's a lot of it, folks. And right here we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to cut in like a little V cut, okay, on the corners here. And you know, this was not as fancy as what was on the picture. It was more of a simpler design, but I think it will be a very interesting piece once we get it done. And you know, I think you'll find it will be fun. But like I said, doing little people, it's a little different. Their nose are just kind of a little stubby thing. It's nothing super fancy. And right. And so you have to be really kind of mindful that you don't put too much detail on the face. It's just a very simple thing. You know, if you look at the Precious Moments figurines that they have everywhere, they're very, very, very simplified. They're not a lot of detail to them. They're a cute little design, don't get me wrong. They are definitely a cute little design, but I had to put a little line across there. Let me see if I can go the other way. There we go. Like I said, you don't want to push too hard. You don't want to make too many lines right into the pea pod itself. Okay. So let me start chopping this out underneath the neck here. So we have this is the front, okay? This is a little thing. Now this was a little bit of a challenge to do with a knife, but what I did to strengthen it up was I took some I'll come to it, folks. I took some super glue to it and really just kind of super glued everything together because I knew that needed the strength, because the grain is running. Let me see how the grain is running. That looks like it's running this way, but it's not. That's the bandsaw cut. It's actually running this way. It's running this way, folks. Okay? That's how it is. So, okay, we're almost out of time. I'll be back.